Hopefully, this isn't an indication of how your show is going to go tomorrow.
George and I were talking about in Alaska how well we got cell phone.
How about it?
But here, not too much.
Not too much.
It's literally the only thing in Alaska.
Yeah, it is
the only option.
Yeah. I don't know where we were. I don't know where we were.
I can play it if you want me to.
Yeah, play that. Just play back where we were, and we'll pick up where we left off.
Second.
We've had some technical difficulties.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Yes.
Purple and
and blue. Ooh, exactly.
Which were traditionally red.
Yeah.
And now they're just purple and. I was talking about the counties that were
traditionally red.
Let me start recording again.
Okay. What do you want to pick up, George?
He could repeat that sentence. I'll start the timer halfway into that sentence.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You're on, John Anthony.
When you look at it, places like Lake County and DuPage, which were traditionally red, are now either purple or deep blue because of those patriots that have left. Republicans have not adjusted to that yet, and Democrats have.
Yeah.
One thing about Democrats, they are tactful.
You're absolutely right. Again, I remember when DuPage was red as red could be. Lake County, where I am, I'm out in Lake County. Yes. That used to be a red bastion, and it isn't. They only have one Republican countywide elected official now.
I mean, and that you're starting to see that, and now they're going after McHenry County.
Yeah,
that's the next county that they're circling around because again, Democrats are tactful. They know how to create language to fit any agenda that they want to do. Language is not forceful. Language is not pro-life, pro-choice. It used to be how they changed and they monopolize the language for political purposes and control on every issue, and Republicans just don't know how to fight back against that.
I agree, and as we pointed out, that all the good patriots are leaving, so you're kind of abandoning the ship and leaving it to them. I think we lost him again.
It says he's there. John.
Now, it's amazing what's happening.
It is amazing.
It's amazing what's happening to our country.
It is amazing. But that's why we have to get involved. That's why I think you being on the radio, and pushing this and letting people know what's going on is so important, right? That we all get involved and let other people know what's going on. Too often we put our heads in the sand and we pretend like, that all these elected officials have our best interests in our heart, and they really don't.
Yeah. And not only do we, it's not just putting our heads in the sand. People are dealing with day-to-day life.
Yeah. And
they don't, politics doesn't concern them. Well, politics concerns you in every aspect of your life. And if you're not engaged, look at what the last 2.5 years has done to us. And you've seen people who've never been involved in politics who are now rising up, and they're led by women.
Yeah.
The mama, what they're calling the mama bears.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you start going after kids, and I was saying, Illinois has 8,000 governmental units, and and even the libraries, they're like the tip of the spear now. You never think that you should get involved in the library board, but you should. It's so important.
Well, we see that because of all of the drag queen shows.
Yeah.
Things of that. I mean, come on, that's grooming. If you can't see through that, leave the kids alone. I don't care what lifestyle you want to live. Leave the kids alone.
I agree.
That's simple.
I agree with that. It's like, do what you want to do, but we should be tactful in educating our children. But this fight has been going on a long time, hasn't it? This sex education thing, and it's like as soon as you give in to something, the next thing is here.
And the thing about the left and the progressives, they're willing to take their time. They're willing. You give them an inch, they'll take a country mile, and that's how they do it. They're incremental. They believe in incremental success. Republicans want everything to happen all at once.
Yeah.
The left and progressives, they understand this is how it's been done, for decades in this country.
Agreed. And they've taken over these again, here in Illinois, 8,000 different governmental units. And they've taken the time to put their own people in. Look at Kim Fox and all across the nation, right?
That's right. And that's why I say, Republicans, don't miss your opportunity with the Dobbs decision. Don't, because while they're keeping us fighting about abortion and the Dobbs decision, they've already moved on to our kids, to pedophilia and things of this nature. Yeah. So we can fight on multiple fronts. Please, Republicans, wake up and learn that there are multiple fronts to this war.
And it is a war.
I hope we realize that.
And it is a war, right? The battle. We lose battles, but we can't lose sight of the fact that no matter what happens in November, it's not over.
Amen. I believe that with every aspect in my bones. And I would tell your listeners, please pay attention to the Illinois Supreme Court races, Mark Curran and Michael Burke. Republicans have not held the Illinois Supreme Court since 1964. And the Democrats understand the power of the judicial.
Absolutely.
And if we win that, we have the ability to make changes in so many areas in the state of Illinois. We have to win that and the Attorney General's race with Tom DeVore if we don't win the governor's race.
Amen. Amen to that. I was out at a Mark Curran event this last week. So I amen to that. We got to get them elected. So tell people how they can find you every Saturday here on AM 560, The Answer.
Yeah, before I do that, Stephen, I want to thank you for, your help, your sponsoring, and everything that you've done for Black and White Radio. It's been tremendous. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you. Well, it means so much.
Well, I appreciate that, John. And, we're friends. And so that's, that goes a long way. It really does.
But people can find me on all the social media platforms, Facebook. Now I was going to say YouTube, but I keep forgetting that I'm no longer on there. Rumble, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and the handle is @BlackandWhite Radio. I'm heard on the airwaves. You can listen on 560theanswer.com. I'm heard every Saturday from 12 to 3, and sometimes Hawk Daddy graces us with his appearance. And it produces the show. So
we're going to take a break here. Then we're going to John Anthony's going to meet us on the other side. We're going to talk about the Constitution. You won't want to miss that because John Anthony's going to tell us about what he thinks about the Constitution here on AM 560, The Answer. You got your hands filled today, George.
Good thing I got big ass hands.
He's all right. He can handle it. He's a big boy.
I can do, yeah. I've actually gotten pretty good at listening to like 3 things at once and not necessarily grasping all of it, but being able to tell if anybody swears.
We have this the bumper for the Constitution segment.
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's do that.
Do we do that after your normal intro?
No.
Or it's just straight out from the get-go?
Cold open.
All right, we're not screwing around.
No.
You gentlemen, hang on. It's about to get bumpy.
We're hanging on. Hanging on, sir.
Standing by, sir.
Now I got to tell my kids to be quiet because they're about to get in the car.
Okay.
Well, raspberry. That means one thing. Lone Star. All right, stand by.
So it means shut up.
I haven't liked that.
From 1788 until the end of time, we the people make a resolution to defend the Constitution.
We're not going to sit here and listen to you badmouth the United States of America.
So let liberty, justice, and freedom ring. It's the Constitution segment.
Our Constitution is a document in which we, the people, tell the government what it is allowed to do.
That's right, Ronnie. And let's keep it that way. We're here with George Hoffman, our technical producer. Our guest this week is radio host from 560 AM, The Answer, John Anthony. Welcome back to the program, John Anthony.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm having a great time.
Well, I'm glad that you can join us today. This show is going to air on Saturday right after the cruise, the Black and White cruise. So I hope everybody's listening and you have a great time as you're coming back from the cruise and that you get to listen to John Anthony on the way back. So
Yes.
now we talked a little bit. I asked you to think about the Constitution, and you had a case you wanted to talk about. What is it?
Well, if you're talking about the Dobbs
Yes.
situation,
Yes.
I really believe the Supreme Court got it right. And hold on, guys.
It's my favorite part of any radio show.
Well, it is mine too.
It's the joys of live radio without the hazards, because it's recorded, but it's kind of live.
It's still kind of live.
No talking.
No talking.
No talking. No talking. Everybody needs to be really quiet, okay? I'm sorry, guys. All right, let's go.
Kids.
Where we
kids.
start? Say hi.
Thank you.
Say hi.
Hey, kid.
Say hi.
You told him not to talk.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
How about some consistency, Dad?
So talk about the Dobbs case, because we all, it's probably one of the most important cases in many, many years.
I agree, and I personally think it was the right decision because the Supreme Court should have never legislated from the bench.
Mm-hmm.
That's a states' right issue, and what the decision did was that it set the ability, because there's abortion is not a constitutional right. That's what the Dobbs decision said. That it's not a constitutional right. Now, if you want to pass anything that's dealing with abortion, the state legislative
mm-hmm.
bodies should be the ones to do such, and that's the Dobbs decision in a nutshell. But the problem is, the left has been beating that abortion is a constitutional right since 1973, since the passage since that decision came down, I should say.
Yep.
And there's really been no fight to educate the people on what the Dobbs decision was really and truly about. Listen, we are a country of laws. The Constitution is the most important Bible is the most important document next to the Bible, in my opinion.
I agree.
And if we don't follow that document that our forefathers, put out there and created for us to follow as a nation, we become Venezuela. We become countries they're not bound by a legal document. Hence the Constitution of the United States of America. I believe in it. That clip you played of Reagan, that's a clip that I play all the time.
Yep.
We the people. That's who control it. Not judicial branch. Who are the people? The people are the legislators, the congressmen, and the legislators of the states. That's who we should leave that to decide. Now, if you don't like what your state body has done, if you don't like that, then guess what you can do? You can elect people that represent your ideas and what you think should happen with abortion.
Exactly.
That's the constitutional republic we are. We're not a democracy.
Exactly.
I hate when I hear people say democracy.
Exactly.
I don't want to see democracy. I want to see the death to democracy.
Exactly. I preach it when they say that that the patriots are a threat to democracy. I always come back and say, well, you guys are a threat to our republic.
That's right.
You guys want to get rid of the Electoral College. You want to get rid of the filibuster. You want to pack the Supreme Court, and that's not where our republic is supposed to go. And I fight this all the time. But I have to agree with you also that the Dobbs decision did exactly what a court is supposed to do. Right? Let the people decide.
That's right. In each deliberative body, in the state houses throughout the country.
I'm always amazed at how the left will surrender certain decisions to the Supreme Court. But again, when Dobbs comes out and it doesn't go their way, then the Supreme Court is the most evil institution in the world.
Illegitimate.
Yeah, illegitimate, evil institution. But when they, as you pointed out, when they passed it in 1973. The Supreme Court, which overstated its bounds, that was perfectly fine with them, right? That's perfectly fine.
Of course. Well, and they're perfectly fine with any judicial overreach that pushes their agenda. Anything outside of that, and this is the thing that really irks me about the left and today. Everybody that's right of center are wrong. They're bigots. They're racist. They have no clue about what society should look like. But progressives, anybody left of center, They have all the answers and all of their answers. But if you look at what they're trying to bring to America, has already been tried in countless countries across this world, and they fail in every single time that it's been introduced. Communism, Marxism, all these things have failed everywhere. But you know what? You know what has survived? The constitutional republic form of government.
That's right. Very, very important, I think, and I thank you so much for talking about this case, because it is important, and that we have now, maybe we have some justices that will go back to the Constitution. I'm an originalist on the Constitution. I don't believe
same as I.
I don't believe that it's a living, growing document. So
correct.
Just not the way it is. So tell people how they can find you, John Anthony.
Sure. Yeah, you can find me on every Saturday from 12 to 3. You can tune in on 560theanswer.com, Facebook, Rumble, and sometimes I'm on the AM 560 The Answer's YouTube channel. There's sometimes I don't want to be on it because I want to talk about controversial things. Yeah. And Rumble is a place where you can actually freely talk about issues and you won't get canceled or banned. Yeah. So you can find me all on those. I'm also on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter.
Well, I appreciate that. We're going to take another little break. John Anthony's going to join us on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Here on AM 560, The Answer. Okay, we got two. The fifth segment's very short, but this segment's kind of short. Also, is there something you want to talk about? Is there some other burning issue? The election? You want to talk about the election? You want to talk? What would you like?
Yeah, we can talk about the election.
Okay, let's do that.
We can talk about the election.
I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to talk tomorrow at the cruise. Although,
I'm going to bring, you definitely want to.
Although that's what a lot of the things we're talking about here, I already got to talk, and we mentioned a lot of this stuff, so I'm trying not to say what I'm going to say tomorrow.
Well, especially since your show's not going to air until after
the show. Like, oh man, this. Yeah. I understand. So let's move.
All right, John. Just FYI, this show is the same clock as yours. So it's the 6:37, 4:50. So that's what he's talking about. Segment. All right, stand by.
Now, back to the Trust Radio Network on AM 560. Hear from Chicago's business leaders. Learn who they are, what they do, and why they do it. Once again, here's attorney Stephen A. Leahy.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome back, George Hoffman, our technical producer. Welcome back, George.
Hi.
And we have our guest today is AM 560 radio personality, John Anthony. Welcome back to the show, John Anthony.
Hey, thanks for having me. And Pop Daddy, you're in trouble.
Yes.
I'm always in trouble.
Okay, so we have, as we all know, November 8th is quickly approaching. The election is coming. We keep seeing all these polls. I'm never a poll watcher, at least this far out. But tell us what you're thinking about this election coming up.
Well, I'll tell you this: the message to take out J.B. Pritzker, the message to take out, anybody, Kwame Raoul, it's there. Will the Republican candidates run for office articulate that message in a way to remind people of the draconian, tyrannical governor that we've had for the last 2.5 years? When you look at, I've done polls. I've done polling for people who run for office. You could pick who you want to poll. I'm not so much hung up on the polls because I noticed that in the latest polling results that they released, Tom DeVore's poll results were nowhere in there. That tells me that that's probably the true measure of where the races stand today. We need Darren Bailey to win. We need him to win so bad because if Pritzker wins this race, then he goes off and he runs for president of the United States of America. We need to end Pritzker's political career right here in the great state of Lincoln. If we can end his political ambitions and career here, imagine Pritzker on a nationwide scale.
Well,
he needs a big scale.
It seems like that Pritzker. Yeah, very very good, George. it seems like he's taken some pointers from the president of the United States, because you don't hear him. He's not out anywhere doing anything. He's sitting in his basement. Of course, he's got a nice basement, but
which one? Which basement?
That's right. Probably not in Illinois, right? He's probably, but he's not out there trying to sell us. All he's trying to do is, as we all know, right? All they do is they slander,
trying to kill the clock.
They slander and besmirch their opponents, and then sit there and don't say anything, and it just seems to work for them.
Correct. Pritzker's trying to badger Darren Bailey with abortion. Well, abortion is not an issue here.
Yeah.
House Bill 40 is passed. That's the law of the land for the state of Illinois. Yeah. So to say that Dobbs' decision affected Illinois, and he knows he's been disingenuous.
Agreed.
Disingenuous. He knows this.
Agreed.
But he knows that there are voters out there that'll clutch their pearls. Oh, he's coming for abortion. Darren Bailey can't do anything with abortion.
Agreed.
He doesn't have the House. He doesn't have the Senate. How can he make those? How can he change anything as it relates to abortion? But this is the problem. Politics today is all who has the best marketing campaign, and with a slick message. And Bailey, he's a farmer. A lot of people are talking about his accent. I don't give a crap about what he sounds like. What is he doing? Yeah. Just the same way I felt about Trump. I don't care what he's tweeting. What is he doing, and what has he done for America?
Agreed.
Well, I got a quick question for you, John, if I may.
Sure.
You're talking about message, and earlier we were talking about how the people who are leaving Illinois are the people who would generally be more to the right, be more the red.
Yeah.
People who are leaving. How important is the message of trying to say to longtime Democrats, whether those be union members or stay-at-home moms or teachers that are kind of fed up with the system? There's a lot of people who are absolutely dyed-in-the-wool, blue to the blood Democrats who will never vote for a Republican. And if we've diluted, the red base in this state, how important is it going to be in your eyes to think a little bit outside the box and almost maybe become slightly center? Not
right.
Not give up the message, but sort of soften it a little bit.
Honestly, my message wouldn't be to Democrats. My message would, because here's the deal. There are 2 million Democrats and 2.1 million Democrats, registered Democrats in the state of Illinois. There's 1.6 million registered Republicans, but there are 2.7 million registered people who don't vote in primaries. That's who I would go after. These are people who said, I don't want to pick a side. I don't want to be a Republican. I don't want to be a Democrat. That person is the person. And the reason why they don't want to be, because a lot of them are afraid that if they pick, especially, and that's why I personally believe a lot of those people are center right or at the center. And you have to tailor that message without losing the conviction of your beliefs and your principles. And I think it's there. Here's the reason why I think it's there. For 2.5 years, they came after your kids.
Yep.
For 2.5 years, they picked winners and losers based upon what criteria? They never told us that. For 2.5 years, for at least a year, you were locked down, told what to do by your government. Yep. Now, if that doesn't scare you, if you don't believe that was a test run or a trial run for something greater that's to come, and it's not a message of fear. It's a message of checking government, checking the power of government. Reagan understood this. I really believe Reagan. Go back to Reagan's message. That's the message that I will begin to run if I'm running for governor, if I'm running for president, no matter where. Government needs to be checked, and we the people have the power to put government in its place. Government should never be punitive. That the founding fathers, when they created the greatest country, the most exceptional country ever be devised, they understood this. They understood that the power rested and lied in the people, not the government, not the halls of government.
Well, we are on the same page, John Anthony, you and I. And so we're going to talk a little bit more with John Anthony at the end, after this break. You don't want to miss it. We're going to take a break. George is going to come back too here on AM 560, The Answer.
George will be back and other unfortunate things when we return here on the Trust Radio Network.
That was a great question, George.
I was teeing it up for him because I knew exactly what his answer would be.
I think you've heard him say things before.
Oh, yeah. Well, we tend to talk once in a while.
Yeah. After every show that he's there.
So you know, and I, my own opinion is, someone was telling me about this the other day, and I talked about, who Jim Edgar, or Thompson. Or
I think there's enough red in the purple in this state that people will vote on their own self-interest if you can clearly enunciate to them clearly an example of.
I gotta say
this
that
is
the only one, you probably know this, right? Is that the Dan Proft ad that's been
Scream?
running. Yeah, that is getting some traction.
I can play it for you if you want. We played it on John's show.
The Scream or the
Scream ad? Yeah.
Okay. Well, we could do that. I think
pretty,
Hey, Steven.
Yes, sir.
Steven.
Yes, sir.
You know why that was a very effective ad?
Why?
You know why that was? Because I'm gonna tell you something that Republicans just don't do. They don't understand the emotional aspect of politicking.
Yeah.
Democrats do. That's why Pritzker said in his press conference, we've never had anybody do this.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, because Republicans are all reason and rational. They don't believe in adding the emotional impact. And that's what Dan Proft was able to do.
Yeah. Well, let me hold you here because we're not on the show. So I like that stuff. So let's do the show. Okay. Let's do the next segment. I always hate that because all the good stuff's in between, and I want to get
it really is.
So let's do it. Let's do this.
All right, stand by.
Standing by.
And now, back to the Trust Radio Network on AM 560. The Answer. Real conversations with some of the most trusted professionals in Chicagoland. Once again, here's attorney Stephen A. Leahy.
We have returned. We're here with George Hoffman, our technical producer, and radio personality, John Anthony. John Anthony, welcome back to the program. In between the segments here, we were talking, and you were talking about how important emotion is. And talk a little bit about that because I thought that was very interesting. Because you and I were talking about the Scream ad that's out there and what Republicans do not do. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why that ad was so effective and it really got under the skin of Pritzker and Lightfoot, Republicans are normally, everything is, let's reason this out. Let's rationalize this. Pritzker said in one of his press conferences, this has never happened. We've never had to deal with this. You're right. Because the Republicans have never engaged from the feelings, the emotional side of an argument. And Dan Proft was able to do that effectively. That's why all of the networks have pulled the ad. This was, in my opinion, because you know why? Every mother, every woman who saw that ad, every husband, every brother saw that as their mother, saw that as their sister, and it showed the true light of what's really happening in Chicago. You know how many people that don't want to talk about the realities of crime that's happening in Chicago? That's why people like James Hawthorne from the Ghetto News Network, Justice from Crime Chasers, and My Life in the Chi, and Chicago Crime Chasers. The reason why their pages are so popular is because people get a raw, unedited view of what's really happening in Chicago, where the media is not doing their job. They've abdicated their responsibility to report news objectively, not subjectively. We've lost that. We've lost the ability of our media to really do their job. And that's why that ad Scream was so effective. If Republicans could ever understand that we can rationalize and reason things out, but there's also emotions. We as humans, we are emotional beings. Tap into that. You want to articulate, George said, enunciate a clear message. This is how you do it. You show facts, you show figures, but you also show the emotional side of how Pritzker's decisions have hurt people. My son is dead. One of the aspects of why my son is dead was because of his decisions to shut down schools. Yeah. My son shut down as well. And we've had more kids commit suicide during the pandemic than kids who have died from actual COVID. Think about that.
I have thought about it, and I think it's a crime, and we shouldn't be involved in this. But I think you're exactly right in that. Now it kind of pains me when we find out that they pulled out that ad and they won't show it anymore. It's kind of like the Hunter Biden laptop story, right? Yeah. It's like, that's effective. Well, we can't show that. You know, we can't, because it might help Republicans win, because maybe it'll inform people with what's really going on.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's so heartbreaking.
It is
to see Illinois. I feel like we're in a twilight zone or some everything just seems so surreal. You know, people's livelihood has been uprooted, and people will never be the same as people based upon the decisions that these people made.
Exactly.
How can people not clearly see that?
I agree with that, and it's like, I will never forgive any of these politicians about the COVID and what their position was in closing down schools and locking us all up and firing people because they wouldn't comply. And now it turns out that they were wrong all along, and I think most of us knew they were wrong all along. And so it's just a terrible thing.
And did you see when Tom DeVore was battling Kwame Raoul's attorney in court, and he said, "Well, these are guidelines. We've said it all along that these were just guidelines."
Yeah. The
recommendations from the CDC.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. You're lying.
It's a lie. That's true. Well, thanks so much for joining us. I wish we had more time to talk, John Anthony. It was great having you on the show. I have to have you on again soon. Remember, John Anthony, he's on every Saturday from 12 to 3, and you can catch him in the morning, in the afternoon on AM 560. You don't want to miss the stay here on AM 560, The Answer. That's what we're here for this news. So don't go away. Join us again on AM 560, The Answer.
Thank you for tuning in to the Trust Radio Network on AM 560, The Answer. Be sure to join attorney Stephen A. Leahy again next Saturday night at 7 as he engages in conversations with some of the most trusted professionals in all of Chicagoland. Enjoy interviews with local professionals dedicated to providing the very best products and services. Learn who they are, what they do, and most importantly, why they do it. Take a step inside the minds of some of Chicagoland's most successful business leaders and learn all there is to know on the Trust Radio Network with your host, attorney Stephen A. Leahy. See you right back here next Saturday night at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Learn who they are, what they do, and who they do it to in the privacy of their own homes. You know, John, one of the things we were talking about after your show last week was Pritzker's reaction. He was like, immediately went to the racism thing.
Oh, yeah.
And you were saying how, oh, yeah, well, that's their easy go-to. But I said, you know, I think it's actually indicative of more. He watched that ad and went, oh, this is about black people, because he has his own racist tendency.
John Cass, did you read John Cass's column?
No.
He said the same thing, because John Cass said, I don't know, I watched that video. You can't tell what color the perpetrators are.
Right. And even if you could, the fact that you would take that away from it means that was the first thing in your mind.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
A fat white billionaire racist. Shocker.
I've dealt with more racist Democrats than I've ever done.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Look what's going on in Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
Are you insinuating that white racists in Martha's Vineyard? I don't agree, sir.
Hey, we welcome everybody.
Exactly.
Oh, wait, you coming here? Oh, no, we don't.
No, we don't do that.
Well,
we welcome everybody to be somewhere else.
I'll see you tomorrow afternoon, John Anthony. We'll have a great time.
Hot Daddy's not coming. He's a bum.
No, I'll be at my nephew's 18th birthday party.
Thanks for nothing.
That's more important.
Okay. Look forward to seeing you.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Out.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
That was fun.
Oh, John.
That was fun. So we're going to have a good time tomorrow at the cruise.
Yeah.
The show's going to
second annual.
I saw that. I didn't make it. Oh, last year something was up that,
you were out of town or something.
Something happened. I couldn't go. I did want to go, but I couldn't go. I usually go to AM 560 events.
Yeah, it's about this time of year. It's like middle of September.
Must have been
end of September.
Must have been. So it's my birthday's coming up.
Yeah.
It's a big one for me.
Well, happy birthday,
I'm almost going to be 40.
You're going to be 29 again.
No, I'm not female.
When you were talking about,
I'm actually happy with what, as I get older, it's not a bad thing.
You were talking about things that happened in the 60s, I don't remember what topic we were on earlier, but you were saying something about like, in 1964. And I was like, and Steve remembers that he was in college. But yeah, I didn't. Sometimes I actually do have some self-control.
Oh yeah,
not often.
I understand. I like your input. to the show. I always do.
I try to limit it.
No, but I like it, so it's good. I remember when the first time you did a show for me, you did talk only through sound bites.
Yeah. Well, that's generally what I do.
Although I always like when you get involved. So
I have to have something, and then 3 out of the 4 times when I have something, the opportunity passes before there's a point at which to interject it. So I just let it go. I'm good at letting it go.
Well, I like that. So thanks so much. I'm gonna sign off.
Sir.
I'm gonna sign off here. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. Can you find the podcast out?
Oh, let's see here. I changed over to a different show so that I would have more sound effects. Let's see. We do have probably a podcast bump. Let's see.
Thank you for being a friend. Watching our podcast.